So, yeah, you can see my boy in there. Let's go ahead and transform this deck box. And waste no time in checking out one of my recent favourite decks. This started out technically as the Modern Horizons 3 Jeskai Precon. And I will actually keep count of how many cards from that are still in here, because I am curious. I'm not going to lie. So, Optimus Prime then, what does he do? We'll start him out in vehicle mode. Living Metal, as long as your turn, this vehicle is also a creature. This plays around a lot of creature removal actually, which is quite handy. So, Trample. Whenever you attack bolster 2, the chosen creature gains Trample until end of turn. When that creature does combat damage to a player this turn, convert Optimus Prime. So basically what you want is any creature on board prior to turn 5 when you can cast this guy. Without ramp. I mean, there's enough ramp in it, you're usually getting him out turn 4. So, he then flips to Optimus Prime, Hero. At the beginning of each end step, bolster 1. Not just your end step, everyone's. Very fun. When Optimus Prime dies, return to the battlefield converted under its owner's control. Yeah. Much like Optimus Prime traditionally does, he does not stay dead. So let's take a look at the fellow Autobots first. There is RC, who you may notice is a proxy. If you don't notice, keep paying attention. So, first strike. 1 mana, and with 1 or more 1/1 counters, deals damage to that creature, and transforms. Vehicle mode then, Living Metal again, all these are Living Metal. Whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more creatures or vehicles you control, you may put that many 1/1 counters on RC and convert her. Now, I will point out, I don't believe this deck has a way of transforming her back into robot mode. But who cares? She's an Autobot that fits the colour ID. She's going in the deck. Same goes for my boy Ratchet here. Lifelink, whenever you gain life, you may convert Ratchet. When you do return, target artifact card of mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you gain this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So basically, if I manage to deal damage with him, he transforms and retrieves something from bin. Whenever 1 or more non-token artifacts you control are put into the graveyard from the battlefield this turn, convert Ratchet. Meaning that, yeah, as long as you can keep dealing damage, you can keep retrieving stuff. Prowl. Attacks exile to 1 other attacking... 1 target tapped creature or vehicle for as long as it remains exiled, so they may play it. Whenever a player plays the card exile with Prowl, I draw a card, and I transform Prowl. Sorry, convert Prowl for legal reasons, they do not transform. Whenever another creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Prowl. If this is the second turn's ability to resolve this turn, convert Prowl. Conveniently, it cares about 1/1 counters. Jetfire. Remove 1 or more 1/1 counters from among artifacts you control. Target player adds that much colorless mana to cast artifact spells, and Jetfire transforms. And for 3 mana, you can convert him and then adapt 3, giving him 3 1/1 counters. Assuming you had none in there already. Yeah, pretty useful. He basically exists as a way of ramping you for artifacts specifically, which is fun in this deck. Goldbug then, also pretty good for an all combat damage that will be dealt to attacking humans you control. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, convert Goldbug. And then Living Metal, human spells you control can't be countered. Whenever Goldbug on at least 1 human attack, draw a card and convert Goldbug. Now, due to the limitations I impose on myself while building this deck, we'll see how useful that is in a few minutes. So, we now get on to... I believe this is the... yeah, we've got 3 token generators, then it's on to the card draw. So we have the Arc Autobot Spaceship, which is a skinned version of the Pregman Steel Flagship, using a still from Modern Meets the Eye Part 1. Because you know, you may as well. Basic creates a 2/2 white human knight creature token, with this creature gets +2/+2 as long as an artifact enters the battlefield in your control this turn. And seeing as I've gone full custom with the tokens for this deck, let's take a look at the knights while we're here. It's the Neo Knights. Yeah, we have some people and the other ones. Yeah, these show up right at the end of the G1 Marvel comics, and no one gives a shit about them, but they're knights, so they count. Genie Blackrock, millionaire, because, you know, much like Urza, he's not really a good guy. As exemplified by him slapping one of his employees here. You don't hit your disabled employees, GB BlackRock. I don't care how much of a petrochemical millionaire you are. Anyway, artifact creation control get +2/+2, and I can copy artifacts except they're soldiers. How very military-industrial complex. Thopter Spy Network. Being in Europe keeps you controlling artifacts, create a 1/1 cold Thopter, artifact creature stuck with flying. When an artifact creature control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. This deck mostly cares about artifact creatures, so it makes sense to do that. Meanwhile, Thop, it's Sky Spy. Yeah, so this is also from Modern Meets the Eye Part 1. Just, you know, I needed some kind of little flying dude. And this fits the bill, it's even an Autobot. Now, okay, one cup of tea later, we're back. So next up we have Sparkplug, a skin version of Joria, I think from one of the early parts of Modern Meets the Eye. I forget with this one, but the quote's from the Marvel comics because fuck it. Anyway, when you cast a historic spell, draw a card. Extremely powerful card draw in this deck. Thoughtcast. It basically works out at 1 mana draw 2. Pretty useful. Oh, here we go. Tezzeret's Gambit, first card from the actual thing. Draw 2 cards and proliferate. This is why the deck is called Power of the Primes plural, because Liberty Prime is in here. Originally, I realised I could build this deck. I wanted to build this deck solely so that I had a Jeskai deck that cared about both 1/1 and energy counters. Meaning that, in theory, either Prime could be the commander. Optimus just ended up being the better option, objectively speaking. We have Charlie Fong, Scientist, in place of Sci Master Thopterist. He creates Thopters. Now, this guy has appeared exactly once in the Marvel comics. He's been here looking through a Goldberg window, and that's Blaster. Basically, he's the guy that worked out that Scraplets are weak to water. And not to spoil things too much, but the servo tokens that this deck produces are Scraplets. So, in theory, you can pay 1 and a blue, sacrifice 2 Scraplets, and draw a card. You can gain knowledge after realising that, hey, Scraplets are going to be destroyed by 1 wet. It's a flavour win, if you don't think about it too hard. Commander's Sphere. Don't ask why this is why this is the Phyrexian one. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this was also part of the precon, because it tends to be. Sol Ring, you know what a Sol Ring is, that definitely was. Actually, let's go ahead and grab the full ramp suite. Conversion Apparatus. Taps for colorless, 3 and tap for energy, tap and 3 energy for 3 mana of any colour. Very useful. Arcane Signet, you know what it does. Azorius Signet. Yeah, this had the talismans originally. I saw that out for the Signet just for personal preference. So we have Azorius Boros, and is it Midnight Clock? It was always here. Solar Transformer. No, sure, I guess it counts as another Transformer. ETB tapped. ETB, you get 3 energy counters. Tap for colorless. Tap and energy for 1 mana of any colour. Sonic Screwdriver, just because it's a good mana rock, basically. Tap 1 mana of any colour. 1 tap to 1 tap another target artifact, which is also useful. 2 untap to scry 1, which is also useful. 3 untap target creature to become blockable this turn. It's just a good, useful card. Let's see. Interaction Suite next then. So we have Generous Gift, you know what it does. Blast Act, you know what it does. Wave Goodbye, skinned as the surfboard scene from the Ultimate Doom, because I realised, hang on a minute, I can do that. That's the thing I can do. Yeah, bounces creatures without 1/1 counters onto the owner's hands with a commander that puts 1/1 counters on things. That just feels generally pretty good. Counterspell, for counterspell, Gale's Redirection, my standard second counterspell, because it gets around can't be countered, because it doesn't counter it exiles it, and then lets you cast it. Path to Exile, you know what it is. Plowshares, a classic. Vandal Blast, one that I'm surprised wasn't in the precon. It blows up artifacts. Organic Extinction then, skinned into the Ultimate Doom. With the quote about special cargo and special cargo itself. It destroys non-artifact creatures. Electrosiphon, just because it's a counterspell that gives me energy, sure. Chaos Warp, skin with the artwork replaced with the malfunctioning space bridge from what is it, the 4th episode of G1, but I forget what it was called. That one, Gateway to Destruction or whatever. Anyway, yeah, this just feels like a very Chaos Warp type of card. I wanted to go with the Marvel Comics scene where Megatron gets space bridged, but that happened technically off panel, so yeah, well. Anyway, yeah, you know what this one does. It's a classic bit of interaction. And then let's go as far as... yeah, let's do the rest of the non-lands now. So, Fabricate, fetch an artifact. Here we have Ratchet building the Dinobots, because I couldn't get a shot of Wheeljack building them. Unwinding Clock. Yeah, we're into the miscellaneous good shit now, just before we get to the meat of the deck. Metaphorically speaking. Anyway, yeah, Unwinding Clock, all my shove and taps. K9. I had one guest robot, I wanted another one. K9 felt like the logical fit. Enigma combination. Yeah, just skin version of Mech Titan Core into the Enigma. Found a panel from the IDW comics. And set the dialogue. Then skinned up the token as Optimus Maximus. Because, you may as well. So, Wake the Past, Master Recursion piece, very fun. Manifold Key, another standard fun card for artifact-based decks. Mainframe, because, I was running low on achievements by this point and figured, hey, why not throw in mains? I like to point out the quote and artwork from entirely different points in time as well. Like, that one that you're referring to here is Soundwave that just saved his life many comics later in this panel, so yeah. So he does Gnomes, which is the only token that doesn't have a Transformer skin, but seeing as I already had a version of them good to go. Oh! I figured why not. Either works Marvel. When our opponent's going to agree, I get an energy counter, I can pay 6 to look at the top 6 and cast something without paying its mana cost. Very fun. And from the precon, Uncivil Unrest. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. Very fun. Very fun indeed. So basically everything ends with counters and it deals more damage. Fabrication module, one that I'm surprised wasn't in the precon again. Probably could have dropped the land for this, seeing it's like not even that rare a card. Anyway, Fabrication module, when you get one or more energy counters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. 4 mana on tap for energy counter. Very fun. Scrapper Champion reskinned into Circuit Breaker, because it turns out that this thing is absolutely fucking devastating when combined with Optimus. So, good old Jersey Bella here. Double Strike. ETB, you get 2 energy counters. When she attacks, I can pay 2 energy counters, put a 1/1 counter on her. Now, the fact that she has double strike and can get counters on her very easily, even without the aid of Optimus Prime, means that she is fucking devastating. I've had her up to a 9/9 in the past. Very fun. Flux Channeler then. Another one that just feels like a really good fit for the deck. But even if you cast a non-creature spell, Proliferate. All my shit with counters gets counters, including me. I'll also point out that the image and quote are entirely unrelated. The quote is talking about a Christmas tree. Marissa Fairborn, because I was running out of humans again. I remember that, hey, Marissa Fairborn exists. I'll point out as well that the image is from the G1 cartoon, later seasons. The quote is from the IW comics. Of course, it's ninjas. Anyway, Lightning Runner was in the precon and was part of the easiest infinite to pull off in the precon, where you create more and more copies of Lightning Runner that just... basically, each combat you get a free Lightning Runner, which then attacks, and you get 2 counters, and then you pay enough. Obviously, you get enough stuff going on entering the battlefield that gives you the counters you need for Lightning Runner's combat ability, and you just get infinite combats and win the game. Gonti's Etherheart skinned as Brainstorm's Time Case, just because, you know, it felt like a good fit. Brainstorm never goes anywhere or anyone without it. It's your basic ETB, gets major counters, you can pay a bunch to get an extra turn. Contagion Engine is just in here for the Proliferate. Comms Forever, Dire Wraith. I needed Phyrexian, basically. And I figured, you know what? Dire Wraith is close enough to Phyrexian to pass for my purposes here. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, Proliferate. I need to talk to you about the crossover. I don't know what it could possibly mean, my good friend. So, Omega Sentinel skinned... Sentinel skins Omega Sentinel. Flashes in and gets me counter stuff attacking me. And can put counters on my things. Roll, because, again, I was running low on humans. And I figured he's at least pretty cool. So, ends skin version of Machias, ends with counters. Can tap to either remove counters and put them on everything else, or get a counter on itself. Felidar Retreat is here solely for the second mode this time, to put counters on things. Is it Generatorium? You get slightly more range counters. Decoction Module, creature ETBs, you get an energy. Verity Carlo, skinned version of Danny Pink. Mentor, whenever his creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Creatures you control have, whenever 1 or more counters are put on this creature for the first time each turn, draw a card. Absolute maniac draw engine. Resourceful Defense, we're getting on to the really fun shit here. Whenever a permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if you have counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control. So, 5 mana then, to move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent you control. This is very dangerous in this deck, and we'll see why in a moment. Ether Refinery skinned into Energy Magnet. If you get 1 or more energy counters, you get twice that many instead. You can also tap it for energy counter, pay 1 or more for an Etherborn token. Now, given that the Energy Magnet created Kremzeek in the episode Kremzeek, as evidenced by this quote here from Kremzeek, it comes as no surprise the Etherborn token's the big version of Kremzeek. I'll stop saying Kremzeek now. I think that's part of the original thing. Yeah, I had to get this motherfucker in here somewhere. So, when it ETB, you get 2 energy counters. Whenever an artifact creature attacks, I can pay 1 energy to put a 1/1 first strike or trample counter on it. Which means that, my stuff can get real dangerous real fast. Chip Chase, skinned version of Madison Lee, who's now misspelled in the thing. I'll probably replace this one eventually. When you cast an artifact spell, you get an energy, pay an energy, target creature gets +1/+0 trample, plan a turn. I can use a counter to draw cards or return artifacts. So a quick wiki. if I control 3 more artifacts, I can tap him for energy counter. Whenever I get one on more energy counters, creatures I control will get +1/+1 till end of turn. I'm always going to have enough artifacts to trigger that. I like to point out, skin version of Brotherhood Scribe, I got him writing that journal where he doesn't know if the Autobots are from the past or the future, which is a weird thing for him to not know about. They're from the present, my friend. Anyway, Era of Innovation, nice simple one. Artifact or Artificer ATBs. I can pay 1 to get 2 energy counters. I can pay 6 to draw 3. Well, I can pay 6 and sack to draw 3, but I usually don't want to do that. That was part of the precon. And finally, the Wombo card in here. The Underbase. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on an opponent or player, all V1 deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. So basically, most of my model have counters on it. I will also have a counter on it. When I proliferate, I put counter on everything and explode the shit out of people's stuff. The Underbase does exactly what it does in the comics, i.e. destroy the fuck out of things. So then, remaining tokens. We have copy tokens, because obviously, and servo tokens, which are, of course, straplets. So, mana base then. We have Perilous Landscape, Exotic Orchard, Demolition Field, rather useful one. Helios 1, it's an energy counters matter one. Stormcarved Coast, Buried Ruin, Mystic Monastery, Swerve, skinned version of Ether Hub, which I think was part of the deck. I'm actually not sure. Mystic Gate definitely was, which was handy. Inspiring Advantage. Yeah, I feel I'd run this as much of the cycle as I have on hand to replace the temples. Spyblock Canal, Darker Wastes. There's been multiple games where I've had all 3 Painlands out, and just... That's one of them I did win with 1 life remaining, which was fucking remarkable. Anyway. Sundown Pass, Battlefield Forge, Sheevan Reef, the OT Painlands, Deserted Beach, Path of Ancestry, Khan's Bastion, Cavern of Souls, which has been skinned as the Primus Chamber. Now, on one hand, there aren't a whole lot of robots in this deck, but on the other hand, most of the robots in here are pretty high priority, and blue players will likely want to counter them. If there's no blue at the table, you can safely go with human, as there's plenty of humans in the deck. Although it does feel weird that they're getting protection from Primus here. Because, you know, Primus Chamber from the G1 comics feels like a logical fit. Now, in order to get this to print properly, I had to extend the artwork in every direction. So this is what that looked like, basically. Took bloody ages to do. Cybertron from the Secret Lair, because, you know, why not? And then the remaining basics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plains. So, like I said, this is very technically a modified precon. In that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Why are you in here? 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35 cards, maybe 36 from the precon, and of those, yeah, if you cut out the skinned ones, you go down to 35, 34, 33, 32. Yeah, so you got about a third of the precon still in here. Neither of the precon commanders are in here. It is very technically an upgraded precon, but it's upgraded in an odd direction that I just find a great deal of fun. You know, it was a deck that I built as a gimmick. As you may have noticed here, all the creatures are robots specifically, or humans, which meant that I lost access to a lot of really, really good tools. Like, no Solemn Simulacrum, for example. No, what was it, Vidalcan? Whatever, who can reduce the cost of my artifacts. Because I wanted all the creature types to still line up. Hence why Metastatic Evangel is a Dire Wraith, which is the closest that this setting really has to Phyrexians. You know, I cannot recommend this deck enough, honestly. It is an extremely fun commander. It makes some really interesting games because it's powerful but not broken in the right pod. So, plans for adjusting it. At some point, I want to figure out exactly one cut to this deck so I can throw in a copy of Wish. Why do I want to throw in a copy of Wish? So that I can have Blaster and Ultra Magnus available to me. But they are the only two Autobots that are outside of Prime's colour identity and thus not legal in the deck. But if I run Wish, then it has to be in the deck to be in the game. I need to skin it as something like Autobot SOS or something, just so I get it in there. But that way, I can get the remaining two Brothers War Autobots in. And I guess optionally that one Grimlock. But, I think Aaron Hansen has a deck built around it where he has to transform something, where like he transforms something to transform it, and he had like the activated Grimlock, which is already pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, getting off topic here. That's the only real upgrade I have planned at this point. As for the cards that are proxied, obviously some of them were from the pre-con, so I still have them. The other cards I have acquired explicitly and set aside. Basically they're in separate boxes, because that way, if anyone decides to be boring and insists they play only using officially licensed Magic cards, and that proxies are not allowed at this table for this casual commander game, like, okay, sure, Jam, then I can have that box with me and sort stuff back in as and when, because, well, there isn't actually space inside the regular deck box for the, I believe, 26 proxies I'm currently on. So, yeah, this has been one of my recent favourite decks. A bit of a longer video, but only because I wanted to show off all the Fancy Pants proxies that I've been getting up to. And I'll see you all next time for another deck. Not sure which one just yet. Maybe Ganax. I haven't got Ganax yet. That's about the point where I don't feel like upgrading it further. It's at like a healthy power level for the right pod. Anyway, yeah, see you around.